kids are getting excited about the song, the Stranger Things fans, and the parents are saying, "Hey, we know this song. We were there the first time."
Hi, I'm Hattie Webb, and this is All Over the Place podcast, where the fun sanity never ends.
Hello and welcome back to All Over the Place. I am your host, as always, Eric Perdvosnik, thanking all over the place, all over the world, and like, share, subscribe. We cannot thank you enough here. And part of that team thanking you would be Jim Culver. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm good and thankful indeed. How are you?
Fantastic. It's a great week. It is the end of March. Things are just going by so quickly. And we have with us a special guest from the UK, and bringing him now the sweet soul vocals, formerly of Kajagoogoo. That's how most of us here in the States know, and certainly those of us courtesy MTV. And please welcome Limahl. Thanks for joining us on All Over the Place.
Well, hi, Eric. Hi, Jim. From a miserable grey UK today, but we just had 10 days of amazing sunshine and 20 Celsius yesterday. So
very nice.
We're in a similar boat up here in the Northwest.
Yeah, Jim's from Seattle, so he gets it.
Yep, absolutely.
It's been very nice. It's lovely. It cheers you up. And I think you said at the beginning that it's going by so fast, and I'm glad. Let's get to the summer ASAP.
Amen to that.
Out like the lamb. And, of course, I mentioned Kajagoogoo. You also had the big hit in the States back in the 80s, the Neverending Story. But today is a huge day because you're dropping some new music on us. New old music, though. And it's a cover of America's 1971 hit, A Horse with No Name. But you've done some very cool stuff with it. And what I liked about it was, you brought in some of those la-la. Pardon my voice. I'm certainly not the sweet, soulful vocals you've got. But like the la 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 la's you brought into the beginning. So tell our All Over the Place audience why you picked this song and just the way you made it your own.
Okay, I picked this song because it's been a favorite of mine forever. Like most people know, I subscribe to a DSP, digital streaming platform, and I've got various playlists: a morning playlist, an evening playlist, a workout playlist, a Christmas playlist, etc. And A Horse with No Name is on my evening playlist because it's kind of chilled. It's such a unique song lyrically. And it's not a song, as a songwriter myself, I don't think it's a song I could have ever written because I wasn't spending time in a desert as growing up as the writer Dewey Bunnell from the band America did, because his father was based in one of the Air Force bases around there. So like most creatives, we have a lot of unfinished projects on the shelf, whether you're a screenwriter or a filmmaker or creating music, and my shelf is certainly full as well. So A Horse with No Name has been around for a while, and I started it, went away, There'd be all kinds of reasons why that happens. It could be something happens in the family or something happens with work. You get just creative block, or you're ill, whatever it is. But the key thing that happened with Horse with No Name, I found this beautiful sequencer, which is kind of a main personality, this electronic synth, doing like an envelope, a bit like a wah-wah guitar. So it kind of opens and it's jerky, like that, as a chord. And as soon as I put that up, I just thought, oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. And, I just started experimenting. Initially, I was going to keep it all electronic because I just thought that would be interesting, because the original is all, there's a lot of guitar work. But I met guitarist Steve Cooper, who's based in Birmingham here. And I'd worked with him on a TV show a couple of years before. And I just asked him, throw down some ideas. And he sent me back a ton of stuff. I think I spent 2 weeks editing the guitar. But the guitar creates what I think is similar to what happens in an orchestra. There's this sort of tension between the slightly detuned instruments, which is actually a wonderful thing. And as the synth chords change, Steve's guitar lingers over. And so suddenly the next chord is something different to what it should be, creates this sort of tension as it fades away, maybe adds a third note, a fifth note, a ninth note, an 11th note. So it just kind of came together quite nicely. And that's why I continued.
I'm digging it so much because of that electronic stuff. And at the beginning, I'm getting a total personal Jesus Depeche Mode vibe. And then that carries you in, like I mentioned, the extra la 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 la's. It just ropes you in. I really dig that. So taking a song from the 70s, bringing in, obviously the 80s lineage that you have, and that it fits right home in 2025, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to tackle what is construed as a classic. It's exciting in one aspect, and it's also very scary. There will be the sort of 70s aficionados who will say, "What the hell have you done?" And on social media, the reactions are mainly positive, but there've been a couple who go, "How dare you?" You mentioned starting off with the la-las there, Eric. There are three things that are different in the arrangement to the original. So starting with the la-las, which is absent on the original. Also, the key change at verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
When I tried that, I just thought, oh, that is nice. And then thirdly, the crisscrossing of the two main vocal hooks at the end. So you've got the la-la going on at the same time as I've been through the Des Honorhorst no name. It's kind of like a choir, Mamas and the Papas, if you like.
Yeah.
So that excited me, and it excites me that I've done such a different version. I think if you're going to do a cover, especially of a classic, you've got to try to make it your own without being so obscure that you can't even hear the original, if that makes sense. It's a tricky balance.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because we did a show a couple of years ago about our favorite covers, but we want to say reinterpretations, deconstructions of the originals. If I want to listen to the original, I'll listen to the original. And I what springs immediately to mind, like Devo, totally deconstructing the Stone Satisfaction, or and even like Talking Heads doing Take Me to the River.
Are you
not enough like the original, but they made it their own.
Are you familiar with the brand new Heavies version of, which was in the 90s, of come on, Little Grey Cells? It's Maria Muldaur. It's can't think of the song. I'm having a mental blank. Hold on,
Jim. You're more than, you're the 90s guy here. You're the high schooler in the 90s. Help us out.
I may need a few more clues, but
Midnight at the Oasis. Was that?
Yeah. The old disco standard.
Yeah, but they just kind of funked it up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's coming. Yes. There you go.
Completely different to the original, but really well done and really fun. And that's kind of an inspiration for me. Sometimes a cover can really add something new to a song. But obviously, it'd be nice to get. I'm not going to contact. I might ask my PR guy to contact Dewey Bunnell after it's released on the 25th, just to see what he thinks. It'd be nice to get his approval. I'll have a sleepless night that night, wondering what he's going to think.
That was going to be one of my questions. Was, have you got any feedback from the Surviving America members about it yet?
Not yet.
Right now, we're going to give people a little bit of a break to go listen to the song.
Okay,
you've had your time, and I hope you loved it, and we'll hear about it in the comments, I'm sure. So, and I mentioned earlier with of course Kajagoogoo, Neverending Story, and I'm wearing the shirt of the channel that I watched religiously. I had parents, so I could want my MTV all I wanted. It was just a matter of Dad paying the cable bill, and once we got it into our area. So, but MTV was so great for those of us who lived in the Midwest. We had classic rock radio stations, or like an R&B. That's all we had. MTV was our radio station. And what was that like for you guys coming from England, where it was just tough to get anything in the States that way, but then all of a sudden you had MTV to open up a huger audience for you. What was that like?
Well, MTV, I mean, videos, the video was an exciting new medium back then, wasn't it? It was so important. It was before the internet, before, certainly in Europe, before we had hundreds of TV channels and radio stations. And so MTV really helped. And I think that's why EMI Records, our record company, the budget for the Too Shy video was £30,000. Now I have no idea what that is in today's money.
A lot.
Yeah. Because video was seen as so important. And of course, the big artists started setting the precedents, with Duran and Elton John, who had, they had the money to do it. And so for the smaller guys, you had to really work hard to make your video look good. I have a funny story about MTV. Actually, I know this keyboard player in the UK, and he met this girl online. The internet was new. It was the early 90s, and she lived in Miami. He was so keen to find Mrs. Right. He flew to Miami, and he got to the hotel. He was tired from all the traveling. He's just lying down for a nap, put on the TV. Oh, what comes on? MTV. What comes on? Too Shy, Kajagoogoo. So he messaged me. He said, I can't effing get away from you. Poor guy's gone all the way to once you've met me, that will happen. You'll be in a supermarket or something and you'll hear my song. No, MTV was fantastic. It was like an extra avenue for people to hear your music. But of course, the band was quite visual. Me with my hair, and I did start. My hairstyle did start this trend. I remember the first Kajagoogoo gig in Cornwall in the UK, the county of Cornwall. I came out, and this was the first tour, so that's 1983, and the first 10 rows had my haircut, and I was pleased, but also nervous at the same time, because I thought, I didn't realize that we were having such an impact on people, that they would copy you like that, and it made me a bit scared. I thought, God, I've got to really watch what I say, what I do, what I wear, etc.
And unlike me, who's desperately trying to get back what I want, it looks like you could still pull it off, though. So I'm jealous in that regard, very much so.
Yeah, my hair is. I take after my mother. Yeah, she's 87 and still got great hair. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Yeah, they say it's the maternal grandfather gene, but that's a lie in my case. And yeah, anyway, my dad got lucky; he could still put the pompadour up. But enough of my lack of hair, because getting ready for this interview, I first saw you in another video. Adam Ant, one of my favorite guys, and you were in the Stand and Deliver video. What was that like, working with such an iconic guy and a very visual artist like Adam?
So I worked at one of the coolest clubs in London at the time, the Embassy Club, which is on one of the coolest streets in London, which is Old Bond Street, Princess Diana's favorite shopping street it was. And you used to see celebs and lots of creative people down there. And the director of the Adam Ant videos, Mike Mansfield, his assistant used to come in a lot. I used to see Gary Newman down there, Lemmy from Motorhead, Elton's manager, John Reed. In fact, it's where I met Nick Rhodes from Duran, who co-produced Too Shy, but that's another story. So I'm at the Embassy Club, and Mike Mansfield, director, his assistant, simply said to me, we're shooting the next Adamant video this weekend and we need some extras. And the club used to have these like crazy parties, and I would put the weirdest, very arty makeup on my face, oil. It was oil paint and stuff like that. I've got some photos. It was fun, crazy times. I was only 20 years old. Anyway, I think that's why I got the invite, because they'd seen me doing this stuff at the parties. So yeah, he said, we'll pick you up at 6 o'clock on Saturday, 6 a.m. Can you imagine? And you'll get 50 quid and you'll be fed and it'll be fun, blah, blah, blah. So I was picked up by the coach and we went to Hatfield House, which is probably about 20 miles north of London, where Queen Elizabeth I was kept under house arrest just before she became the Queen. Her sister died and then she became the Queen at Hatfield House, where they shot the Adamant video. Some great history there.
Nice.
So yeah, so it was a fun day, and it was a long day. It was like an 18-hour day. We didn't finish till like 11 p.m. that night. A lot of hanging around while they set up shots, blah blah blah. But sadly, I was a victim of the editing room floor, because after all the filming, literally, if you blink, you miss me, which was, it was a shame. But the experience was fantastic, and I met some great people.
I've been an extra in a few movies that wound up on the cutting room floor as well. So yeah, I get it. So
there you go. Yeah.
And I didn't realize that Nick Rhodes produced you. So tell us about that coming in and what it was like being in the studio with one of the Durans.
So as I said, I was working as a waiter at the Embassy Club on Old Bond Street, and one night I served a drink to Nick Rhodes from Duran, and he was in there with his one of their managers, Paul Barrow. They have two managers, brothers Paul and Mike Barrow, who own the nightclub in Birmingham where Duran were discovered. And I just started telling him about my band. I said, I'm in a band and we've got some, we've recorded some demos and we're trying to get a deal, and just generally very enthusiastic as I was. And I've got the blonde hair at this point sticking out all over the place. I think I read in an interview somewhere that he said he was quite charmed by me. But to my surprise, because it was quite early on in the Duran career, why at that point would he be looking to have another string to his bow as a producer, when Duran are still trying to try to get that solid career going. But I sent him a cassette. Do you remember those?
Of course.
And yeah, absolutely. I've still got some in my loft. A week later, I got a call. It was an old Ring telephone on the wall at a flat that I was living in the overlooked Hyde Park, very nice area, Lancaster Gate, West London, West Central. Picked up the phone. It was early afternoon. He goes, "Hi, Limahl, it's Nick. I've received your tape. I really like the demos. I'm going to take them into EMI Records," and that's what happened. And then he ended up co-producing with Duran's producer, Colin Thurston, the late, sadly, Colin Thurston. And Colin was kind of a brilliant old school engineer. Nick, was a very creative with some experience. So to have, it's a bit like going in, is it called the Shark Tank, the TV show in America? If sometimes you go into the Shark Tank and you get two sharks instead of one. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that's
yeah, because the show in the UK is called Dragon's Den.
Ooh, that's cooler.
So there you go. But to have, and also you've got five band members, and the guitarist wants the guitar louder and the drummer wants the snare louder, etc. So if you've got, somebody really strong at the helm, if you like, then that's really helpful. And that's what happened.
Nice. Big Duran guy, big Adam Ant fan. And then love Too Shy. And then I saw a couple of years ago, going more on 3 now that I think about it, but saw Howard Jones. And of course, he's got your old bandmate Nick Beggs playing with him, and they cover Too Shy in the set. So what's that like for you, knowing that your song is still having life here in the 2025 and beyond?
I absolutely love the fact that Nick seems to have finally embraced Too Shy. I always felt, because he technically broke up the band, he didn't like being, he and they didn't like being what they thought we were teeny idols, which I guess we were at the time. I mean, we looked even younger than 23, which we were. And so they thought, well, we'll get rid of the singer and we'll try to change our image, blah, blah, blah. And I think he kind of distanced himself from Kajagoogoo for a long time. I think it's great to see him out there talking about this song and playing that fantastic bass line. And I'm a fan of Howard. I've worked with Howard many times. He's great. I think it's wonderful that they're out there and keeping the song alive and giving it a slightly different interpretation. I've no doubt. I've not heard it myself. I haven't looked for it. I guess I could find it. What you have to remember, guys, I've been singing Too Shy all over the world for best part of 40 years.
Yeah.
So I never listened to it, and I've no desire to.
Well, as a fan of the original and a fan of Howard as well, they do a really good justice. They do. And it was nice to just be it was a nice curveball amongst Howard's amazing catalog.
Yeah. I just think it's great. I mean, what if it happened a couple of weeks ago, I was in a pharmacy and I suddenly thought, what is that? They're playing Too Shy. And I got very excited. Like when it happened the first time, 42 years ago. So that never leaves you. But it does feel a bit, if I have to go and listen to Too Shy, it sort of feels a bit like I'm going to work, because does that make sense?
I'll let you know. I have heard that song as I'm walking through the grocery store, and I'm the guy who's got no shame whatsoever. I've got my grocery cart. I'm doing little back forth dance steps with it because, well, it's a catchy song. It's a great song, and someone wants to judge me for dancing in the middle of a grocery store aisle. I don't care.
Yeah,
it's a legacy that lives on. And Jim, I know Jim's our resident film and television guy, so I want to pass the torch over to him. I know he's got some questions he wants to ask in that regard.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously with this kind of burst of 80s nostalgia, we're getting your work has been kind of reintroduced to younger generations through shows like Stranger Things and Black Mirror. So what was that experience like working with Netflix on that? Did they ask you to consult, to re-record anything? Did you work with them at all? What was that experience like?
That's a very interesting question, Jim. The first I knew of it was in the media. You see, when a film company or a TV commercial or radio want to use the music, they have to go to the copyright owners, the owners of the master and the publishing, which is Sony Music for the publishing and Warner Music for the recording aspect. And it's all very legal and, box ticking and paperwork. I did read an interview with the producers, and it made me smile because, in life you need a little bit of luck, serendipity, or whatever you want to call it. But they got down. So for the finale of season 3, Stranger Things, they were looking at 2 songs, and one of them was mine. And then they discovered the other one is going to be used by Amazon Prime. So there you have it. There you have it. It could have gone either way. It was a 50. It's like red or black, the casino wheel. And after the broadcast, so the monthly streams of Neverending Story were about 300,000 a month, and they shot up to 1.5 million, and they're still around that now per month. And I think that the kids are getting excited about the song. The Stranger Things fans, and the parents are saying, "Hey, we know this song. We were there the first time." So
Yep.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. The life of a song, once it gets out there, its trajectory can just be phenomenal. And same with you mentioned there American Horror Story. Did you? I think I
mentioned Black Mirror, but yeah.
Oh, you mentioned Black Mirror. Okay, yeah. Do you want to mention?
I was ready with American Horror Story.
Oh, go.
Yes. So
I've never been big into that show, but yeah, I love Black Mirror and Stranger Things. So those are the two that hit my brain. But yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I love that scene in Stranger Things. Not only did they include the song, but they actually made it vital to the plot, and it really came out of nowhere. And of course, made me feel like a kid again. So because I love that movie as a kid, is one of my favorites. So it was great to see that make kind of a comeback with a new generation. And we recently reintroduced our son to that movie, and he loves it too now. So so yeah, just these things kind of keep coming around through generations. But yeah, I think that's a great song. So so do you feel like you're kind of getting a second lease on these things, and are you able to harness that pop culture boost?
Oh, it's definitely revitalized the songs for sure. There are so many examples of that in film. Mm-hmm. You didn't mention the wedding singer? I think they used Too Shy with Adam Sandler.
Oh, I haven't seen that in a while, but yeah, that would be another one for sure.
I think that was one of the first big uses, probably because mid-90s, in just enough time had gone by for people to start feeling, nostalgic about the track from 15, 16, 17 years earlier.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I've had people come to me and say, it's the first dance at the wedding, first relationship, first holiday with my partner, blah, blah, blah. It's quite a powerful thing, nostalgia. It really takes people back to certain places in their life. And I love that.
And as the resident theater, and that is theater with an R-E, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up A Neverending Story, the musical. And talk about another...
Eric, hey, if you're going to do British, I'll just go, I'm not sure what my American accent sounds like.
It's not bad.
Yeah, go on, Eric.
Well, I mean, just I piggybacking off what Jim said. I mean, Neverending Story, I think a solo hit for you, and just continuing that a second lease on life, and you mentioned Too Shy is a popular thing that people are coming up to you with, and just how often do you get that with Neverending Story as well, being a solo hit?
Neverending Story is bigger. It's bigger now. The streams of Neverending Story are about 180 million, and Too Shy is around 100. Yeah, the musical. I went to Madrid. The producer of the show, who's put a lot of money into it. I say that because you can see it on the stage, in the production, in the animatronics, in the time they took to put it together, in the marketing. I was there for the opening night. It was wonderful, even though it was in Spanish and I didn't really understand it, although I know the story. It was, and the reaction was amazing. So it ran for a year in Madrid. Now it's in Barcelona. I hope they translate it to English. I think it could do really well. Get it to Broadway or the West End. And, again, that's like another bonus for me as the singer of the original song. We should briefly talk about the producer, Giorgio Moroder.
Oh, as someone, I was going to go this route with you and talk, and let me just jump in with it now, because you've got artists like Dua Lipa and Weeknd who are embracing that electronica sound that Giorgio Moroder pioneered and really brought to the forefront. So, and of course, working with him on Neverending Story. Talk to us about that, working with a legend like Giorgio Moroder. Let me spit that out properly in my morning mouth here. A legend like Giorgio Moroder. Oh my God, I said
It's easy for you to say.
My last name's Provoznik. I can't pull off Moroder. Giorgio Moroder. There, I got it. Go.
Giorgio Moroder. You have to say it with an Italian.
Yeah, you have to go with the flair. Yeah, yes.
So EMI Records asked me to go to Tokyo to promote my first solo single after the band broke up. And while I was there, Giorgio Moroder was there. My manager at the time, Billy Gaff, who had been the manager of Rod Stewart through some of his biggest hits, early big hits. And Billy was a real kind of entrepreneur. His parties in Chelsea and London were infamous. And Billy went to dinner with Giorgio, and I imagine, I don't know, but I just imagine, knowing Billy, that he told Giorgio, Limahl's going to be the next best thing since sliced bread. You better work with him, blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of guy he was. And then when I came back to the UK, I got the call to try my voice. I didn't have the gig. So I flew to Munich, and the night before I was out clubbing, smoking, drinking. I got 4 hours sleep. I wasn't phased at all that I was going to work with this legend, Giorgio Moroder. Looking back, you know, if I'd known how important it was going to be, I would have been in bed by 7 p.m.
It was the 80s, 4 hours of sleep. That was amateur hour, please.
So true. So when I got there, when I arrived in Munich, you know, the song's quite high, and my voice was saying, I'm not working, go away. But you know, we chilled out. We had some food and wine, and I nailed it about 8 o'clock. And I came back, and I still didn't know for a couple of days. And then I got the call from my manager's office saying, yeah, he likes the vocal, he's going to use it. I've heard in interviews he said he liked my hair. So you see, the hair came in useful again. How crazy is that?
Once again, it was the 80s, and we had to keep Aquanet and all the other hairspray companies in business, without a doubt.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Or Dippity Do, whatever I was using to make mine stick up. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, again, you know, great serendipity to... but Giorgio was a fan of Too Shy. You know, Too Shy opened. Without Too Shy, there probably would be no Neverending Story. I've heard Giorgio's. There's a clip somewhere online where he says, "I like this song, Shy Shy."
Okay.
So you know,
Giorgio Moroder. There. I thank you for making me say with a lame Italian accent. So at least I'm saying it properly. And a quick shout out to Shooter Jennings, who did a Giorgio Moroder tribute album a few years ago too. And so I like that this guy, this legend in electronica and then that style of music, has been able to influence artists today. So I dig that. And you know, Limahl, it's been phenomenal having you here talking about all these classic songs. But folks, don't forget, today you are able to hear Limahl's cover reinterpretation. I would say a deconstruction, as we said on our previous episode. We're talking about our favorites, A Horse with No Name, the America classic. He's made it, I think, a modern classic, just with electronica, making it here in 2025. So Limahl, thank you for doing that. Make sure you check him out on all the socials at Limahl Official, TikTok, Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And actually, very quickly before we go, I know you've got to get going too, but you've done a lot of admirable and cool work with Cologne Pride. Talk to us very quickly about that.
Yeah, I've just been invited to perform at Pride in Cologne this year, and that's the 4th of July, so your Independence Day. So that will be fun.
I like it.
Yeah. It's always fun to do Pride. I mean, everybody will be in a good mood. Fingers crossed for the weather, you know, anything outdoors. Should be July the 4th. And Yeah, I mean, my partner Steve will be with me. We've been together 32 years. Don't ask me what the secret is.
I'm twice divorced, so I think maybe I should ask you for what the advice is, but a different show.
My two straight brothers are twice divorced, and I'm going, yeah. I'm beating you guys.
Combined, I'm beating you there. Just rub it in. I like that.
Yeah. But I'm also going to Iceland in September. I've got a gig in Reykjavik with. What I tend to do is I get invited to a lot of these very big, a bit like Glastonbury, where there's a multi-artist lineup, usually of some sort of festival. That's what I've been doing a lot, and that's what the Iceland show. I've never been to Reykjavik. I've been around the world twice, and there's possibly something in Lithuania later in the year. So yeah, my career, if you can call it that, my work is still fun and interesting and full of surprises. So I love it, and I'm not getting any younger.
But you still got the hair. So anyway, jealousy really, it's ugly follicles from me. But check it out for A Horse with No Name. You can get that. It's a fun hallucinatory video. Just definitely want to check that out today over on YouTube at Limahl Official. Limahl, thank you again so much for joining us here on All Over the Place. And hopefully we can see you here in the States on one of those festivals at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, folks, you've been watching and or listening to All Over the Place. We'll be back real soon. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All Over the Place, where the fun sanity never ends.